Hello YouTube. Well, this is my guitar and bass collection. I have 26 instruments, 13 basses, 13 guitars. So let's just dive right in. This first instrument, bass, it's just a parts caster P bass that I put together out of just mini basses that I've come, and just have parts lying around. And so I put this together, and it's a nice bass. I gig a lot with this one. But yeah. This next is a guitar. This is a PV Mantis. I ever tuned it myself. All the guitars that you see ever tuned, I have 3 guitars that I've ever tuned. This was the latest one that I've done. But as you can see, it has a Patriot neck on it. The neck that I got with this body, I got it. It was warped. I paid $40 for the whole guitar, and actually, this is a Bill Lawrence A500 lead, so you know something great came out of it. Then I just picked this up on eBay, and also the I tried to cut a pick guard out for it, but poorly done. This one I leave tuned to D actually. This next guitar is a fretlight that I have. This is a full fret. This is a 511, so all the LEDs light up all over the fretboard. There's the Jinx Cat sticker, and that's one of the bands that I play in. Other than that, this is all stock. I just use this as a learning tool to learn new songs in the cover bands that I'm in. It makes things a lot faster and easier. This next guitar, this is another ever-tuned guitar. This is probably one of my favorite guitars that I have. This is actually a sticker onlay of the Tree of Life. See the back, the front. This is just a mashup of parts. I just bought the body from one guitar, the neck from another guitar, and the pickup, the Evertune bridge, the electronics. Another thing about this guitar is, except for the strap pegs, this guitar is all machine screws. It's all brass or wood inserts with machine screws, and it just locks the neck down a lot tighter. And when you're taking plates on and off all the time, you don't have to worry about the wood stripping. Then you gotta dowel it and re-glue it, and yeah, it's just good to go all the time. Okay. And this is a third ever-tuned guitar that I have. This was the first guitar I ever tuned, actually. This is a Honda Explorer with I bought a paddle neck and then cut that headstock onto it. Stickers as well. Yeah, this guitar is, although heavy, but I really like this guitar. Oh, the last guitar I keep tuned to E flat. This one I tuned to E. My Honda Explorer. Now, being that I had a guitar version of it, I wanted a bass version of it. So this is, yeah, a Honda Bass Explorer with the fine stickers that I made, just like the guitar. It's nice that they use Fender measurements and stuff. That makes, doing stuff like this really cool, really easy. And yeah, so that's this is a Honda Bass Explorer. I use this one a lot. Alright, this next guitar, as you can see with most of my guitars, I like the single humbucker in the bridge, and finding a Les Paul like this, and just cheap, just because it is one of the cheap bolt-on ones, but I like bolt-on guitars better. But yeah, I just wanted a single humbucker Les Paul shaped guitar, and that's what this is. The next guitar is a PV23, as you can see, single humbucker. So I got this guitar on the cheap, and I sucker for reverse headstocks, single humbucker, pickguardless guitars. Yeah, love them. And I couldn't pass this up on a deal. So that's how I acquired this one. Alright, this next guitar, I was sitting in bed one day in Craigslist and saw it for really cheap. Reverse headstock, single humbucker, hardtail. I mean, awesome. And I see that these guitars are going up quite a bit in price, but yeah, I saw this on Craigslist really cheap. Called the dude up. Yeah, was driving down there within an hour. This is a special edition Ibanez guitar with a Heart Eater or Heartbreaker graphics. Alright, this next guitar is a Variax 300. Oh my god, this is an Indonesian made one. Here, let me see if you can see that. Upside down. I hope that comes in, but they actually made them in Indonesian. I remember a post a long time ago saying no, they only made them in China, but no, this is, as you can see, Indonesian made. I love these guitars. These are awesome. They're great. They're great playing tools that just allow your imagination to go wild. You can go from clean acoustic 12-string to your raunchy, dirty distortion in one flip of one button with like some of the floor pods or helixes, or well, this is an old one, so it wouldn't work with all the new gear, but I have a Pod XT Live and it allows to do stuff like that. This next guitar, this was my dad's guitar, one of them, and an old Harmony Rocket that has seen better days. Unfortunately, the Arizona weather has not been too kind to this guitar, but he bought this guitar. The story that he told me was when he got back from Vietnam, when he got home, he had found out his younger brothers had destroyed his guitar that he had before. So he went out and bought this one, and he's like, this was the first thing that I bought when I got home. I only wish it was in better shape. Yeah. Alright, this next guitar, this is just a cheap Fender Squier Bullet, a recent one. I mean, really just the $100 Strat that you see in Guitar Center. That's this one right here. Not much to say about this one. Alright, this next guitar, this is kind of the first guitar that I had. My dad, I was playing around with one of his guitars when I was like about 10. He was at the music store that was a PV rep or distributor, and he was walking along, and they had these had just come out pretty much, and he thought that this would be a great guitar for me. However, he didn't like the bridge and he didn't like the tuners, and he was talking to the PV guy, and he called PV and saw it, and tried to figure out what they could do, and well, eventually they changed out the tuners for these ones, and they put bridge saddles in the bridge. This is how my dad bought this guitar. I didn't really care too much for guitar. It was really at that point for me to do chords, and it just so my dad pulled this out of the corner and gave it and put it in my hands, and this is an old Kalamazoo bass, and I took to this like a duck to water. I love playing bass. I am a bass player. Kind of joke that, yeah, you're a failed guitarist, but no, I am a bass player, and this was my first bass. And that was the band I was in San Diego. I was, I guess, graduating up to the next level. I got one of these. This has been stripped, paint stripped, and everything like that. And the original neck on this was warped and twisted and everything like that. And so they don't come up very often on eBay. I found this one, but it looks like they wanted to make it an early Washburn. And chop one of the best headstocks, I think. But yeah, nice BC Rich. This is a Korean made during the class act in Korea. Really like these bases. I like BC Rich and the weird shapes and stuff. But yeah, this next base is a made in Japan Squire 32-inch precision base. This is an A series base. The serial numbers on the neck plate. These early Japanese Squires are really great bases. Alright, here's another Japanese Fender base. This is the HMT base, the heavy metal Telecaster base. I like this bass. I got this on a great deal on Craigslist, and it's been a great bass. It's a great bass. The Japanese really make great instruments. As I said, I love BC Rich. This is my main bass that I use in the band Chemical Clowns. These are inlay stickers, or onlays, as one of my vocalists came up with. This is an early NJ series, Japanese one. And as I said, this is the main bass I use in the Chemical Clowns. The Warlock is a backup. Okay, this next bass is a Variax 4-string bass. A Variax 700 4-string bass. I made a little spreadsheet in Excel to tell me all the different patch names. These are really great basses, but it comes with a love-hate relationship. No workbench. So they're kind of useless in the way of Variax doing. But they're still a great bass. They're heavy though. The neck also has a nice jazz bass contour to it. It's really, really skinny up here. And to go along with the 4-string, I also have a 5-string Variax bass. In the Sunburst. These were the two colors that were available, the black and the Sunburst. For these. Alright, this next bass is just a cheap Chinese Squire bass that I hot rodded. You might ask, where's the pickup? It has a piezo bridge system. If you look closely, you see how there are silver parts in the bridge. Those are the actual pickup itself. Got the vine onlays. I blacked out all the gear. I actually traded a distortion pedal for this bass. But it has a really nice neck to it. And alright, this next bass, this is another MIJ Squire bass. This is full scale though. One of their bullet basses. It's made in Japan. This is an SQ series, actually. These are really great basses if you can find them on the cheap. Because it says Squire, people will sell them for cheap Squire prices. Okay, this next bass you might have seen before in the pictures that flash by on Know Your Gear. This is a custom bass that I had built for me. You didn't see this part in the picture, but I had an old Kramer aluminum neck and just really beat the crap out of it by just playing. And you know, I was in a metal band, hard rock metal band, throwing gear around and stuff, and so finally the body just gave. It was about ready to break in two. And I always wanted a Les Paul style bass, and so I got together with this luthier in Lake Havasu, and I wanted a Les Paul bass, but I didn't want it as big as the Les Paul's basses are. I wanted it as close to we could get to the guitar size still maintain 34-inch scale and intonation and everything. Oh, this has a piezo system in it as well. That's why you don't see any pickups. It actually works. And he also custom made that knob for me. But where was I? So yeah, I wanted it the original Les Paul, as close to the Les Paul guitar size as we could, without making it look all distorted and everything. And I think this is about the best of both worlds. So yeah, I love this bass. This next bass I just got as a 5-string backup when I was actually gigging with the Variax 5-string. I wanted a backup in case the string broke or whatever, the electronics just went south or whatever. So I bought this really cheap off of Craigslist. And this is a Stellar 5-string bass. I actually rewired it. It was the electronics were kind of just hacked over. So I put concentric pots on here, so it's like the old jazz, or volume tone, volume tone. And so yeah, I've been trying to sell this one for a while actually. I really don't care for it. I don't like the string spacing. It's too narrow. This next guitar, my roommate that I have now, when he was living with some other people, we were chilling, party, playing some pool in the house and everything like that. And I had said that I had never owned an acoustic guitar. So one of the guys gets up, goes into his room, comes back and hands me this, and he goes, "There, now you own an acoustic guitar." And that's how I acquired this guitar. So it's just a cheap acoustic. I could see why he gave it to me. And last but not least, as I'm sure you've seen it hanging up on the wall, this is a Schecter Damon V that I got off of Craigslist, really cheap. Because the guy repainted it, I guess. These guitars only came in black, and I actually like that it's green. Got green strings on it, and the pickups also are a funny story too. My guitarist Ronnie has a white Gibson Flying V that had these pickups in it, and he didn't like them. So he got some Seymour Duncans, and I put them in for him. This was around Christmas time that just passed. And so I bring him the guitar at next practice, and I hand him the pickups. And he's like, "Well, I don't need these." And I'm like, "Well, I'll take them off your hands." And he goes, "Well, Merry Christmas," and hands me the pickups. So better than the EMG HZs that were in this. This guitar sounds so much better now. For $60, can't beat it. And that's my guitar collection. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. I'll see if I can get around to answering them. Have a good day. Bye.